Good morning, good morning, good morning. And how are you all? I hope some of you had a blessed week, and those of you who haven't, it's not gonna stay the same. Things will change. Nothing stays the same forever. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's always so good to be here with you. Today, I want to share with you a very traumatic time experience I went through. I've got 5 children, 3 girls and 2 boys. My eldest son, when he was 7, he was diagnosed with brain tumor. And the worst type, it's in the stem, it's called brain stem glioma. And that's where everything stemmed from, right at the back here. It's a very, very dangerous place for a tumor to be. In the beginning, I was told that it can never be operated on because of the area that it's in, the eye, everything is affected. When my son was 7, I was living in Trinidad at the time. I grew up here, came here age 10, went to school. I left in 1980, was away for about 18 years. Then my son fell ill. We were all around the table having breakfast, and he wanted to reach for his cup of tea, and he couldn't. His hand was going all over the place, but you could see he wanted to reach the cup, and he couldn't. So that was very, very, we were so shocked. Took him to the doctor in Trinidad, and, a consultant there said, this child is seriously ill. So I decided to bring him here to London. So what happened, as soon as we came to London, that same night, we had to take him straight to hospital, Kingston Hospital. So while there, overnight, they could see that he was very ill. He wasn't responding very well or anything like that. So they done a lot of tests overnight, and they discovered, yes, he has a brain tumor. And that was at Kingston Hospital. Next morning, they had to rush him to Royal Marsden in Sutton. As you can understand how, very upsetting and everything else to see my son was okay, and now this. We got to Royal Marsden, and I had a meeting with the consultant, and they told me what to expect and everything else. It was not good. It wasn't looking good for him. I even have that piece of paper that the Professor Buffet, that was his name at that time, he was at the Royal Marsden in Sutton. He's left now. He wrote, and I still got that piece of paper. He drew where the tumor was on the paper, and he said, children that have this type of tumor, even with treatment, the outcome is not good. And they decided that they will do radiotherapy to shrink the tumor. But during that time, Jerome got worse, my son got worse. He couldn't walk, he couldn't talk, nothing. At one time, when I was at home with him and he fell ill, and he was dribbling a lot of saliva was coming out of his mouth. And, I was saying, no, this doesn't look right. I called the hospital, and they said, bring him in straight away. My God. When they were examining him, they pushed that pallet down his throat, and they were pushing that pallet down his throat, and he wasn't even gargling. He couldn't feel nothing. I was so shocked. And the doctors and them said to me, this is serious. Of course, he was admitted, and I can't go through everything because I want to concentrate on when he was admitted and what it was like in the hospital, what was going on. This is what I want to concentrate on this morning, because there's a lot of parents out there going through what I went through. And I met a lot of very nice people in the hospital, parents that we all going through the same thing. We formed a bond because we understand each other. It was awful, awful, but thank God for other parents. We formed a bond, and we could cry on one another. We could share with one another. It was really, really nice in that way. But I never realized how many children have cancer. All different form of cancer you can think of. Babies, 5-year-old, 10-year-old. Oh, it was so traumatic for me because I've never seen anything like it. These lovely little babies, so young, have to go through all of this. It really, really broke my heart. And that was the time when I realized, oh my God, why do we live life in bitterness, anger, and everything else? Look at what these children is going through. When you see all of that, you thank God for health, honestly. So when he was admitted, they said they want to do radiotherapy to shrink the tumor. So right now, this is the stage my son was at. He was like a vegetable. He couldn't talk, he couldn't walk. When you lift him up, his head used to swing like that. Nothing, everything was shut down. But it's so amazing in all of that. He never lost his smile. Even though he can't talk or anything like that, he always used to be smiling. And that's what gave me strength. That's what, to see him still smiling. He understands what you're saying, but he just can't talk, he can't walk, he can't lift his hand, but it's that smile. When I get up in the morning and, and he see me, the smile, that really, really used to be the highlight for me. Instead of all of what is going on, he never lost his smile. Okay, so radiotherapy now. In the hospital, I saw a lot of children that had a lot of chest infection and everything else. Some of them, they couldn't move. So lying down one place, obviously you will get chest infection, lungs infection, and things like that. I didn't want that for my son. You know what I did? I had a routine in the hospital. Every morning, even though my son couldn't walk, I allowed the nurses and them to take off with his food. He used to have to be fed through a tube. I asked them to take it off. And what did I do? I take him out of the bed. I put him in front of me like that. I hold him in front of me like that. I put his feet on my feet. And I walk up to one end of the ward and to the other end, holding him like that, holding him up like that, his back towards my chest. And I put his feet on my feet and I'm walking with him. I'm exercising him. So the first routine was to get him out of bed, walk up and down the ward with him about 4 times. Then I will go and make him a bowl of porridge. After I make him the bowl of porridge, I'll give him his medication. But I think after the exercise, I showered him. Then I made him a bowl of porridge. After I made him the bowl of porridge, I gave him his medication. And after that, the doctors told me that after radiotherapy, you will find that things that he's good at, he wouldn't be good at that anymore. And I said to myself, oh no, I don't want to have to start him all over again to read. So what I did, even though he couldn't talk, he can understand, I got a pack of phonics set with all the words, 100 words. So after all that routine, I will get the flashcard with all the 100 words, them, the, all the 100 main words that, you need to know. So I would spell the word and I would say it, I would sound it out. Every morning I did that. Every morning without fail. That bowl of porridge That really helped him. Every morning I made him a bowl of porridge. I didn't make the nurses and them shower him. I did everything. By the time the night staff handed over to the day staff, my son is dressed, exercise, dressed, medication. He done his schoolwork, everything. Everything I done with him. So then what happened then? He started to get worse. Worse as in, he started to have a lot of seizure. But before I get to that, there was a friend of mine. She was taking herbal stuff for different ailments she had. And she approached me and she said, look, I'm taking these herbal stuff. I think you should do that with Jerome. You know, talk to my herbalist and see what they can do for him. So I had a word with her, and she's saying to me, she has given these herbs to many people that have cancer, and it has helped with the side effect of radiotherapy or chemotherapy. And I was frightened to do that because, you know, most doctors don't want you to mess around with any other medication or beside what they have given to you. So I was saying to her, I don't know, the doctor, I have to ask the doctor. She was saying to me, no, don't tell the doctors. They will try and not make you take it. But my conscience was, I wasn't too keen on that. So I mentioned to the consultant, look, I want to give Jerome these herbal stuff to help him. He said, no, it could interfere with what we're giving him. We don't recommend that. You shouldn't do it. But you see, everybody is different. You have to tap into here. You have to ask God, ask for direction where that is concerned. So I decided in the end that I will give it to him, because what it was is nothing much. When I say nothing much, it's just all the greens you can think of in powder form. All the fruits you can think of in powder form. That's all it was. Veg and fruits. So when I sit down and I thought about it and I asked God, direction in this, I decided to give it to him. Without telling the doctors. Because I thought, it's all veg, it's all fruits, nothing wrong with that. And I'm not saying to people, to do what I did. It's entirely up to you. I did what I had to do at that time, how I prayed about it and how I was led. And that's what I did. I gave him that. And the side effect of the chemotherapy, he didn't have that. He didn't have the vomiting. The only thing he had was the weakness, tired when he came home. Okay, let me go through, before he started the chemotherapy. And they wanted to start the chemotherapy, and he was having seizures after seizures, and they just couldn't stop it. And they needed to stop it because Jerome was deteriorating. He was skin and bone. There was no flesh on him. You can feel all his hip bones and everything, And at that time, I didn't have much people to help me because we were far out. I had sisters living in Fulham, Wandsworth. I had friends living in Dulwich. And it was very far for them to come at first. So with all the seizures, the doctor said, okay, we're going to try these medication on Jerome. And everything they tried, that morning, there was panic button pressing on the ward throughout. They gave Jerome one medication. The doctor left. Next minute, he's having real bad seizures. And all you could see is white coat flying down the ward. They're just running down the ward. So all I was doing, I gave the worries to God and everything. I was very concerned, yes, but I gave the worries to God. I gave it to him because I couldn't handle it. I really couldn't handle it. And it was a Sunday morning when all of this was happening. And the consultant was on the ward. Everybody was working on my son, and they just couldn't get through with any of the medication because they said they need to start that chemotherapy ASAP. And now these seizures that he's having, impossible. So Sunday morning, I'm there right through. I'm praying. That's all I'm doing. Praying, and I'm leaving them to it. And then at one stage, the consultant said to me, he has called the professor, head of the department, and they want to speak to me. It was a Sunday, the professor wasn't working. They had to call him. And that's to tell you how serious it was. So they called me into the room, and they put me to sit down, and they said to me, I'm sorry, we have tried everything with Jerome to stop the seizures, and nothing is working. And if we can't get to start the radiotherapy, there's nothing more we can do. And I'm sorry, we have called an ambulance and to take him to St. George's. Now, any mother that is in the Royal Marsden and you hear that they tell you there's nothing more they can do at the Marsden, they're sending you to St. George's or what other hospital, depending on your complaint or the seriousness. They are telling you nothing more they can do. Your child is going to die. But it's so strange. All through what my son was going through, even years after, I'm looking back, I never thought, that never came into my head. I know he was serious. Honest to God, I know the situation was serious. But yet I didn't think of that. So when they told me that, and they were looking, doctors don't like to pass on these sad news to parents. They really don't. They do feel it, especially if they've known you a long time. So what happened? They're looking at me really sad, and I looked at them, and I said to them, don't matter what my son is going through, don't matter the seriousness of it, my child have to testify that there is a God. I said he have to testify that there is a God. And I know it's serious, but he have to. And they looked at me. Oh my God, the look in their eyes, they felt so sorry for me. Because it's like I'm not coming to terms that what they're saying to me, that my child can die, and I'm not accepting it. But I didn't. I don't know how I had the courage. Well, not to say I don't know, I do know. But, for them to tell you that, and you looking at the professor and the consultant, and you saying to them, regardless of the seriousness of the situation, my child will testify that there is a God. I was rooted and grounded in my God, the faith and belief. So, after I said that, I got up and I went to the toilet. I went to the toilet and I went down on my knees. And here's what I'm saying to my God. I said, God, I have all the faith in you. And I believe in you. Here's what I'm coming with now. After I said that, I said, but Lord, hear what this is saying to me. Something said to me, but you have the faith and you believe straight away. I know my God. I'm always talking to my God, and he's always talking to me. Straight away, I knew what my God was saying to me. I jumped up. I said, Lord. I'm sorry I have the faith in you. I said I believe in you. He's telling me, if you have that, don't come to me with but. You have the faith, you have the belief, then that's it. Finish. It's done. Ah, God. I was in that toilet and I got up. I don't even know what's going on the ward. I really don't know what's going on. But I got up, I say, yes, Lord, thank you. Don't come to you and say you have the faith and belief, and you come into him and you saying, but no, there's nothing like that. You don't come to God like that. You either believe and you have the faith, or you shut up and do your own thing. That's my way of putting it. Would you believe? I went back to the ward all morning. White coats, doctors running up and down. They're pressing that alarm button. And when I went back to the ward, nothing was going on. My son, the seizures had ceased. Everything was back to normal. Amazing. Amazing. Years later, I want to go back. What happened to that ambulance? What happened to that ambulance that was on his way? Straight back to where it come from. My God is in control. So you see, doctors can predict, but they don't know. Our God is the giver and taker of life. It's when God says it's time. The doctors of them can predict, but they don't know when your time is up. They can predict it, but they don't know. It's only God knows that. And I thank God for those two doctors that really took care of Jerome. Professor Buffet and Darren Hargreave, he's now at Harley Street. Oh, they were brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Jerome loved them. Every time Jerome see they come around him, come to his bed, oh my God, that smile of his, that smile when he sees them, he loved them to death. But it was so traumatic. I went through so much, but I held on to the belief. I held on to my faith to bring me through it all. The reason for the exercise, is because, as I said before, that, all the children sitting down, lying down, and no one is exercising them or anything. How I had the mind to do all of that, it's unbelievable. And my son had his radiotherapy, didn't have no side effect to talk about, and he was well. This is going to be a part 2, because for 10 years he was well. Part 2, I'm going to take it up from there. But what I want to say to you was, what gave me the strength was Luke 22, verse 42, that said, when Jesus was on the cross, dying, he said, Father, Father, if it is your will, take this cup of suffering from me. Nevertheless, but let it be your will. And what happened? Did God take him out of it? Did God save him from the pain? No. The angel of the Lord came down from heaven, and what did they do? They gave him the strength to endure. And that's what God gave me. He didn't take away anything of no pain. He didn't take away anything. We have to go through it. But he gave me the strength to enjoy it all. And boy, did I need that strength. If I didn't have that faith and belief in my God, I would have been finished. Because at that time, I was having problem with my stomach, pain in my stomach. I had to have one of those things that goes down in your throat. Oh my God, that's the worst experience. So while in the hospital, I was going to hospital, getting examined, and stuff like that. And again, the strength that I had to do all that, the strength that I have had to do all that, it's just unbelievable. And another charity foundation I'd like to thank while I'm doing this is Click Sergeant. I didn't have, because I was away from the country 18 years. I just came back with Jerome and everything else. And they were able to, while I was in hospital, while Jerome was in hospital, I had living quarters upstairs at the time. But before that, I had to travel every day and I didn't have much money. And Click Sergeant, they're so good. They gave me money every week, every month, whatever, to help with whatever I needed help with until I straightened out my finances. They were absolutely brilliant. But, it's your faith. It's your faith and your belief and calling on God. When you need the help, you call on your God. He's there. I said on a previous video, you can tap into him at any time, any hour, anything, anytime you can tap into him. So I just wanted to share this with you because there's someone out there that need to hear this. There's someone out there that will be going through the same thing that I did. That I had to take responsibility while my son was in there by not letting him lie down in bed all day long. If it's possible, you can get your child up. Try and get your child up and walk, even if it's for 3 minutes. Get them walking, get them, moving. Lying down on the bed all day, is not going to help. So I hope this video, sharing what it was like with my son, I hope this video has helped you. And once again, I will say, like, comment, and share. Friends, family, supporters, share. There's someone out there who wants to hear this. They need to hear this. Okay? Take care. God bless. And I will see you next week. Take care. I don't know why this thing always giving me trouble. This